Thank you so much, Punu, for this amazing, engaging hosting session. I thought I'm going to be the first bencher today, but thankfully, I think most of the hosts did take care of that part, so I don't become the first bencher because I never was. Perfect. So what we're going to talk today is about accessibility testing. So my first question to all of you is: how many of you have heard before Poonam or my presentation, speaker announcement on Twitter about accessibility? What is accessibility? Any of you have heard before? No? So this is your first time, right? So yes, I'll be talking about accessibility testing, and I'm a developer advocate at Browser Stack. What's developer advocate? I think that's a very controversial job title and role. Not very much people know about it. But a person who has so much interest into tech, building tech, but at the same time person likes to educate and enable people on using technical products of different companies. That's when they decide to become a developer advocate. So that's how I decided. Can we go to the next slide? So about me, I think I'm somebody who prefers to call myself as a product of a community. How many of you are students here? How many of you are students here? Okay, so I have seen a lot of ladies who are students. So I remember when I was in college, third year, and first time when I attended WTM event. That's when I heard about WTM, and it was 2019. There was this lady called Bhavani who had come to talk about how we can impact the world of technology by encouraging more and more women to come and learn about technology and support. And I think that's what the platform, and I realized that it's so important for you to at least understand and know that such opportunities exist. I know somebody talked about that. We have been so hard trained to become a housewife and to take care of a household that we don't even know that such opportunities exist. And hence, I think this community was started, and that's the main reason why I think we need WTM and such communities, that you speak female speakers, you speak to female engineers, female product managers, designers. If you see such people coming on stage and speaking about things like that and networking with them, you realize that, this is also something which I can do it. So apart from that, I enjoy reading books. Books has been my second love. First love has always been dance. And like any typical Indian girl, I was trained to become a housewife by my mother. So I can cook really well. So I do experiment a lot with cooking. I'm also somebody who's a tech enthusiast and likes to explore new techs. For an example, currently I have been so much into understanding the open source tools in machine learning and AI. But currently in my current company, I also focus so much on testing and understanding a lot of other open source tools and how companies are doing. Can we go to the next slide? Yes, so I think Poonam already talked about it, but this is so important, right? We need to make every single thing accessible to every single person with a disability or without a disability, right? So just imagine that you have a talent, but that particular website or application is not accessible to you, you're gonna miss out on the opportunity. So that's a part of it from a user perspective, but as a company as well, right? Just imagine that you have built an extraordinary product. It's been planned well, it's been designed well, it went to production, deployment, everything is right there, every single thing. And when you launch that product, all of a sudden somebody has put a lawsuit on you that this product is not accessible. And you happen to spend thousands and so many dollars on just trying to, get over that case. So such things can happen. Very similar thing happened to Domino's when a person was trying to access their application and website. He was not able to access, and he made a lawsuit in Supreme Court. This whole case went to Supreme Court. Well, of course, Domino's didn't have to pay a lot of dollars to settle do the settlement, but it was an eye-opening for a lot of other company as well. So that's one part of it. Second part of it is that just imagine that every single thing is moving towards digitalized. Now you have Swiggy, now you have Uber, you have everything people are trying to access via mobile application or a website. Even if you have to buy a clothes, you go to Myntra, Amazon and Flipkart. So in such situation that everything is moving towards technology and digital stage, you have to be very aware of that. You are trying to cater every single audience who is in the world. Other thing is that by the cases as cases, we have also seen a lot of disabilities coming. I think the number of people with disability have increased over the years. So as an very important thing, I think anytime you are trying to build something, please do consider about these things. Today, this session, I wish I could, teach you a lot. But what I'll do is we'll start that why it's so important, and I think I already mentioned that why it's so important. It's of course that anybody can do a law case and lawsuit on you if your web application, website, and applications are not accessible. Second is that it's very important that you have a very inclusive design to cater every single audience and you're not missing out on any users. And the third and very important one is that as a community, as somebody who is privileged, we have to give back to the community and to somebody who's not privileged enough, right? Can we move to the next slide? And that's a video. Can you play it? Try audio. Increase the audio. Numbers on how somebody who's blind and somebody who has a low vision and the mild vision people are trying to access your website, and you could see that it can decrease and people cannot log it through or use your website if that's not accessible. Can we move to the next slide? Yes. So I think I already started with why we need accessibility testing or accessibility in the place, but one of the very main reason is that we need it for inclusive design. As a company also you have to follow a legal compliance that anytime you are building something digitally, it has to follow all those instructions which has been given by the legal, and different countries have different rules. And to improve a user experience. So when we are trying to cater our audience with disabilities, at the same time, you're also improving your other users' experience. How? We will know by that when you do a tab reader, when you do other experiments with trying to make your website and application accessible, it does improve on the user experience as well. Next slide. Now, I did talk about the legal compliance and why it's so important, and why at least now a lot of companies are taking this in the serious, because these are the couple of things. We have Americans with Disability Act, we have Rehabilitation Act, Section 504 and Section 508, which accommodates all people with disabilities to access workplace, education and other organization, and Section 508 accommodates access to technology. And under these sections, anybody with disabilities can sue you in the court if your website and application is not accessible. So that's a very, very serious thing. Apart from that, I think BookAg has launched these accessibility guidelines. With the help of that, you can definitely try to improve the accessibility of your website and application as well. So today I will be focusing a lot on website, and that's when I also show you the demo of it. But all these same guidelines and the acts and the rules also applies to your applications. And even within the tool that I'm going to present you on to the web accessibility, in the same tool you should be also able to go and explore how to work for app accessibility as well. Can we move to the next slide? So when to start accessibility testing is the biggest question. Firstly, is because we are not aware of it. Now, since you know why accessibility testing is very, very important, we have a whole software life cycle, and where do we fit accessibility. So I think it has to start from the starting. So whenever you are trying to build something, you're in the planning stage or designing stage, very consciously you have to take decisions to build websites and applications which are accessible. Second is, of course, during the development process. And the third and the most important part is that even if such things are being missed during the planning and designing and development, that can cater under the testing and user part of it. There are a lot of tools available. Of course, there is Lighthouse, there is X, there is Web, and then there is a browser-side accessibility as well, which you can try it out. And even once your product is launched, there are very high chances that even by using such tools and uh, you can try to cover all of it, but you post launch also you have to keep a track and keep a very keen eye on making sure that any of the components which you build or any of the pages you build, that has to be accessible, right? So now I know we talked about all of it, that accessibility is important, when and how to start, but do you think that any of us are trying to not make these websites and application consciously because we don't like disabled people? No, right? The only problem with it is that we are not aware of it. That is the first part. And even when the awareness is done, one of the biggest thing is that there are not much tools out there. It's so hard. So the moment we talk about WCAG, there are so many WCAG 1, 2.1, 2, and the moment you see such terms and those huge documents, you get scared. That, you know what, I don't think this is something very easily done and we cannot do it. So the biggest problem why not a lot of companies and the developers and freelancers are making sure that their website and application is accessible is because firstly awareness, and the second and the most important is that there are not much very good tools out there on which they can, but at least you can get started, and I'll of course teach you how to do that. Can we go to the next slide? So this is a WCAG and the guidelines. A lot of people also call them the rules. I wish I could explain you all of it, but these are a couple of each level. So you would see a lot of WCAG 1, 2, 2.1, 2.2, and I think it's every time there is new cases which are coming up, they are of course enhancing and improving these documents and tools. Under this, you have 3 levels. The first level A is that must do. Any website and applications which are being launched, you have to make sure that they are adhered to all of these rules, and this is the section where tab reader comes, the color blindness at the very early part of it is come. Second one is that should do it. So if you are trying to move from an SMBs to mid market to an enterprise level of company, I think level AA is something which is very, very important to your company. And the third one is the level AAA, which is the best if your company can adhere to such guidelines and rules, and by using good tool, if you can make your website and application accessible, that's the best. Moving on. Next slide. Yes. So how to start? I think the first part is that everything is available on the internet. All you have to do is understand accessibility. This will be a good start to get started, but then there are so many other things which you have to understand, read, and try it out. Second is that familiarize with the guidelines. Of course, you can go and watch a couple of videos on YouTube, but there are also tools who are taking care of all these guidelines part of it. You don't have to put so much of your brain and energy in learning all these guidelines and trying to adhere to it. You can choose tools which can cater to your particular business problem and application. Learn the very basic testing, and it starts from manual testing, of course, and start testing. So these are the couple of steps which you have to follow. I would like to reiterate all of these is that go to Google or anywhere on the internet, understand accessibility and understand such big cases and small cases where this has made such a huge deal for a different company. Also try to understand accessibility from a developer and a QA and tester perspective, that why as somebody who's contributing to such application and website it's so important. Choose any tools. There are Lighthouse, there is Web, there is X. At least you can start with the Lighthouse, which is Google extension. And today I will of course teach you about browser stack accessibility, so I think that's going to be very easy for you to use. And you can get started directly with browser stack accessibility as well, because browser stack accessibility is built on top of X, which is an open source. So all the features which you get in X, you will also get in the browser stack accessibility tool as well. And I think we can get started with testing. Next slide. So how to do that with browser stack? All you can do is go to internet. You can take a picture of it and you can try it out once you go back to home. You can go to browserstack.com, under that go to user and sign up for a free account. There are a lot of tools with browser stack, so it might get confusing for you. So in that you can go to accessibility. I will show you of course that part as well. You can download the extension. This is again a Chrome extension on which you can test about accessibility. Open any URL on google.com and test any website which you would like to as an experiment. And then you can open a developer tool and look for accessibility tool extension, start scanning website and look for accessibility issues, and within a minute I'll also show you the demo of it on how you can do it. So just 1 minute. So if you go and search browserstack.com, so I have already signed up for this one, so you will see go to dashboard. So just give me a minute, I'll try to do this in another browser for you. So we will go here. So here under you can go to free trial and you can do sign up with your Google, and once you do it, this is the screen which you will be able to see. If I go to browser stack. So these are the screen which you'll be able to see, and I am into the accessibility testing, and you'll be able to download the Chrome extension as well, and we can get started. So for the first experiment, what we will do is we'll go to this Intercom website. This is a B2B product. The reason why we have selected this website is because they have a really couple of good features and a lot of pages to scan and check their accessibility. So here we will do it for their pricing page because they have two pages in it, key features and all features. So what we'll do is we'll inspect the tool. Under this, if you go and see, I already have accessibility toolkit added to it. I hope it's visible to all of you. So just 1 second. I will stop because I think I was already running something. Here we will go to key features, do a new scan. So these are the three things, right? There is a workflow analyzer, there is assisted test, and there is a screen reader. We will do it one by one. So under a workflow analyzer, you should be able to do scanning for full page or part of the page. So for an example, if you want to do it for a section of a page, you can hover your mouse there and you can check it. But today we'll do it for full page. So I can go to full page scan. Under that, you would see that scanner on standby, so it has already started scanning, and you could see that there are 221 issues over here. Post that, we can stop this one and we can go to all features and then start a new scan once again. We can continue, do a full scan. So you would see there are 350 issues. So these are this particular website has these particular issues which any development and testing team needs to check it out and try to resolve it. So if you see, there is a 354 issue, and I think in the beginning when we did it for other part of this feature, there was close to 200, right? So when you use X or Lighthouse or any other tool, you have to do these individual scanning, where a lot of times you might see a lot of similar and duplicate issues being part of two different pages, and it increases your efforts and time to resolve such issues as a developer and tester. So for that, I think BrowserStack has one very good feature, which is that you don't need to do two different scan every time. So for an example, if I go and do a new scan, do a full page scan, under this it's had already started for all features, so this is done. I'll go to key feature, you could see that the number of issues has increased, but it's still just 386, right? So these are 386 issues which in this particular website has it. But what we did initially is we went to two different features, and then there was 200, and then there was 3. So it was total 500 issues which you had to tackle it before. But if you do it via this particular tool, BrowserStack Accessibility, it will help you remove the duplicate issues, so you can focus and put your efforts on just single and individual issues. Apart from that, we can also go to their main page, and then this can continue happening. You will see the number of issues are increasing. So you don't need to stop and try to do every single page. Sometimes when there are just 3 to 4 pages, it makes sense, but there are a lot of websites and pages which has close to 20, 25 pages, and for such people, trying to resolve those duplicate issues does require a lot of time and bandwidth, and I think that's also one of the reasons why people are not putting so much effort on it, is because it does need a lot of your time, and there are not much very good tool out there for people to do it. So we will stop this one for now. Under this, if you go to any of these issues, right, you would see we have it under a component section. So for this component, there are two. Let me check with something, this one. So these under these component there are 10 problems. So if you go and like this one, just 1 minute. So under this, you will be able to highlight these issues on these pages. So for an example, the moment you go highlight, it will highlight in here that here is a problem, and you would also see more information about these problems under a browser, this documentation. So you should be able to go and check what are these problems, because of course you might have not read the whole guidelines and you might not be able to know. So you should be able to redirect to the documentation from that page itself. Apart from that, if we go down, there is also a section where it tells you how to fix it, right? So these are a couple of features which you can try it out and check. There is something else which I would like to show it to you is screen reader. I also wanted to try the assistance test, but I think because we don't have much time, we'll go to the screen reader for now, and you can try out the other feature by yourself. So if we go to a screen reader, select Mac OS. We'll enable it. Okay, no.
VoiceOver utility. VoiceOver utility window. Utility categories table. VoiceOver off.
Just 1 minute. So we will go to google.com, we will inspect this site, we'll go to accessibility tool, we'll launch the screen reader. Under this, we'll launch
VoiceOver on VoiceOver utility. Empty. Chrome. Google search button. I'm feeling lucky button. Francis Garcia 66. You are currently on a pixelated illustrated search T on Twitter. Twitter. Heading level 2. Website web. Div empty group. You are currently on text element inside of web content. To exit this web area, press Control Option Shift up arrow.
So with screen reader, what you will be able to do is somebody who cannot see can access to these websites by just listening it to this particular thing. So the first one which we saw is how to resolve the issues in a particular website. Other one which we saw for an so this one was the screen reader. You can go to any of the websites to. Once you have this Chrome extension, you'll be able to go to any of the websites and try all these 3 things. The one thing which I wanted to show it to you is the dashboard. So with the browser stack tool, what you get is, just 1 second, I think I did not, I have it. So if you see under intercom workflow, you'll be able to combine all those issues which you have. What are those critical, what are those serious, moderate, and at the minor level. You should also be able to try the app accessibility from here, from the same dashboard, and you'll be able to check for your applications. So this is for manual testers and as well as for somebody who is into automation as well. There are a lot of other features, but because of time crunch, I of course cannot present to you every single thing. But what we can do is, as the next part of it is, you can go to browser stack tool, and you can sign up for a free product access. These are a couple of very important links which I want you all to take a screenshot of it. So bookcat guidelines, you should be able to read about it all in here. There is a lot of videos on YouTube which will also explain you, but just to making sure that everything is in the place. Like I said, there are a couple of bookcat guidelines like 1, 2.1 and others. Under that we have 3 levels. So that could be a good starting point. Apart from that, there is an accessibility checklist link which you can keep in mind whenever you are trying to make your website and application accessible. And the last is understanding browser stack accessibility. This is the documentation link. Every single feature and the capability which browser stack has, you should be able to try it out. I think the free product access is available for all of you. You can go and check it out from free product. Apart from that, we are also providing free product access to somebody who's working on open source project. So let's say that you are trying to build an open source tool. You can use browser stack, even paid plan for free of cost. And if you're working in the open source area, do reach out to me. I'm happy to give you the access of browser stack. But apart from that, even just as a person who is keen on learning about accessibility and you want to try it out, you can try by free sign up access. And then once you finish your limits, you can reach out to me, and I'm happy to extend it just for you to make sure that you are learning. And as a community, we are giving free product access to somebody who's trying to learn our tool and enable themselves on our tool as well, right? So one last important thing which I would like to sign off this session is a book recommendation. Like I said, I am someone who reads a lot, and this is one of the very important book which has made quite an impact on my life, is to understanding that it's not that we didn't have women leaders. It doesn't mean that we didn't have past piano players or singers in the past, but the problem is that they somehow got mixed into all these datas. So there is a hunter and gatherer theory, which all of you might know that in old days, the ladies used to be the gatherers who used to take care of the family and gather stuff to run a house, and men used to be the hunters. But during one of the archaeological survey, what they found is that there was a part of a woman body with all those equipment which was used to do a hunting. So there are such many more cases on the fact that we would realize a lot of these data have been missed. There have been a lot of women who have done great contribution into our past. And the most important thing you will realize from this book is that why do we need women leaders and somebody at the upper level to plan this whole infrastructure. So either if you see a car, you would see a seat, the steering, which is not very comfortable for a woman rider, because when this whole car was designed and planned, it was designed by a man, and of course the perspective of women isn't there. But the reason why it wasn't there is because we didn't have a lot of women who could do it. Either if you see, we don't have a lot of restrooms on the road, so even if a woman wants to go out and work, it's very difficult for her because there are not very good public washrooms. So if you want to improve such infrastructure, technology, either into machines, aeroplanes, or applications and websites, it's very important that we have women at such higher and leadership role. And it all starts by just being aware of that such opportunities exist. You can go and get it, and then I think you can always give back to the community. So I think that's all from my side. I'm open for Q&A. Any question about accessibility or tech in general? If you have any questions, feel free to ask now, or maybe we can even connect during the networking session. No questions?
If you don't have questions, I have a lot of questions, Juhi.
Yeah, please. This is the very first time that I have presented something and people are not asking questions.
They'll ask. Let me pop that.
If you're scared that this question is very silly, trust me, you might have not asked more sillier question than I had asked in my previous email.
Let's sit and do a hangout chat. Come sit here. See, you got it ready. See? Yes, ma'am. There you go. Tell your name, please. Where do you work?
And I have total 6.5 experience in mobile development. I have one question. आपने जो भी demo दिखाया web के लिए, so can you explain me how to work in application?
Yes. So I think that has to be done by a demo once again. I want to give a shout out that we also have an engineer who has built this product in browser stack. Can we have a huge shout out for Arpan who is here? So he is also from browser stack, and when we did announce about this event, we got to know that we both are from Surat and in the same company. So accessibility, I think there are a lot of features available in there. I wish I could, but that has to be done by a demo. I can do it during the networking session. You can try it out with me on your application. You can also connect to him to know more about what you'll be able to cater, because I don't have expertise in mobile and application. Hence, I did not present that demo. But I think he and we both can help you.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
Pass on the mic if you have questions. No? Alright. I'll ask you a question. If you can't answer that question will pass on to you. Let's sit. You'll be tired. If you can't see us, you feel free to stand up. how can you advocate your company that they should spend time or resources for accessibility?
Yeah, thanks.
Anyone?
That's a 100 crore question. I don't have that in my account, but let's see if you get the answer.
Just give it a try. I mean, I did explain about why it is so important. So you might remember a couple of points from there. And of course, you can do a couple of recommendation of the tools. So just add on any point which you can remember from the session.
I mean, તમને લોકોને so far એટલી તો ખબર પડી કે આ વસ્તુ જરૂરી તો છે. પણ મને લાગે પર્સનલી મને પણ હું ડિઝાઇનિંગ કરું મને પણ ઘણી વખત એવું લાગે કે આ વસ્તુને હું મારા મેનેજરને કે મારા કંપનીના સીઈઓઝને કઈ રીતે કહું લીડરશિપને કે આ વિચારવા જેવી વસ્તુ છે ભલે હું એકલા વધારે લઉં પણ મારે આ ફીચર નાખવું છે પ્રોડક્ટમાં. ડેવલપમેન્ટ માટે અલગ ચેલેન્જીસ હોતા છે તમારે તો મારે તો ખાલી ફિગ્મામાં રમવાનું હોય તમારે થોડી વધારે મહેનત કરવી પડે રાઈટ. તો તમને એવું લાગે કે આપણી પાસે પોઈન્ટર્સ હોવા પડે કે કઈ રીતે તો મારા મેનેજરને કન્વિન્સ કરી લઉં કે ચલો આને એક્સેસિબલ બનાવીએ બસ નાના નાના ફીચર નાખીએ અને આ થોડી વધારે યુઝફુલ થઈ જશે. આવા પોઈન્ટર્સ નહીં જોઈએ તમે સાહેબ આનાથી કેવું જોરદાર અપ્રેઝલ થાય ખબર તમને કેવું જોરદાર હું ગેરંટી આપું તમારા પૈસા વધી જશે. સ્ટોક માર્કેટ કરતા વધારે અને વધારે પબ્લિક બી યુઝ કરી શકે તમારો પ્રોડક્ટ. આવું ક્વેશ્ચન નથી પૂછીએ આપણે જોઈએ
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that biggest point which you can make is by making your website and application accessible, you'll be able to increase your user base because we saw that there are more than 550 million of people with disabilities, and the moment you don't make your website accessible for them, I think you're losing out on such users. So that's the biggest point for you to go and convince it to your manager and director that this is very important. And from a business perspective, if we have more views on our website and the more users, you'll be able to convert them into a paid user and such things. So that's definitely the biggest points which we can try to convince it to our leaders. And the second and the most horrifying one is that the legal compliance. Or you can go and tell it to your manager is that if you don't do it, there can be any of our users with disabilities who can sue us in the court, and we might spend on many more dollars just try to do the settlement for this. Very similarly, how it happened for Domino's, and it had happened to a lot of companies. So you can try to get a list of such companies. For an example, if you are into the e-commerce field, you can try to get examples of the e-commerce field companies who have gone through such lawsuits and that has made a lot of loss for their business and company. So that's the third point. And I think another and the biggest point is that you'll be able to improve your user experience by just making your website accessibility to other people. Is that even we, right? When we try to go to a website, scrolling it does become very hectic for us. So when we have a tab reader and a tab feature enabled, then we can just simply click onto the tab and try to go to a different feature. I think that does improve our user experience as well. So, but yeah, I think these are the 3 points which you can try to pitch into your manager. That would be very important. Other one is that you going out and trying it out those tools which are out there in the market, right? So if you would have, for an example, you want to convince your manager, you have built a web application or app, just go and check all these issues and the problems which you have in your website by using all these tools. I would recommend cross-stack accessibility, but I think you are feel free to use any of it. There are a lot of free tool and open source tool available as well. But you can go and check all those issues, create a report. So in the cross-stack accessibility, you'll be able to create a report, export, and then send it to your manager that this is our website and these are the problems which we have. Some of them are critical, some of them are moderate. So the critical ones are very important for us to address this, and if we don't do it, these are the circumstances which can happen for our company. So I think that would be my suggestion for people to convince.
With that, so Juhi gets 10% extra raise this year.
I will hope so.
No questions? Should I ask on behalf of you? Or you want to have a chat later? You need to speak.
Yeah, and don't be worried about the silly question.
I mean, she's not going to give you diamonds anyways.
I don't have one for myself.
We are waiting for a manager to give us some diamonds this year in 3 days, and we can sell it and get some extra money.
I'm waiting on my increment later.
Right. So, no more questions? Was it a good session? I think we should have a lot of questions for accessibility. Okay, clap. Juhi, do tell them later when you get